We all want to save money at the grocery store. We all want to be able to spend more time with our families. We all want to get out of the rat race a little bit. And this video will show you how to do all three of those things in a small way. It's a small way. It's not going to overhaul your life in the short term. In the long run, it might.
We are talking frugal family freezer meals. Yes, that might be a lot of alliteration, but stick with us because we can show you how you can save so much money. First of all, freezer meals just save money. It means less drive-through, convenience food, takeout, all of that. It means not making decisions about food when you're hungry. It means not having food go to waste in your fridge because you were meal planning but not very well and you didn't actually get it made, and then produce goes moldy.
Produce goes bad. Mine goes slimy before it goes moldy. I don't know about yours.
Right. And then you end up having to throw that out, and that's money that you're literally throwing into the garbage. Whereas with freezer meals, you buy the stuff, you prep it right then and there, get it in your freezer, and it's totally ready for you to eat. So this is a way that you can save money. Plus, you can buy things on sales and take full advantage of those sales because you can buy a ton of what's on sale. You can buy in bulk. You don't have to go to the grocery store as often, which saves because you're not buying impulse purchases, but also on gas.
All of those things, they really do add up.
We want you to feel like there's some margin in your budget and in your life. And freezer meals create margin with time too, because you're doing less cooking.
You really are, and less mental load because you're not having to worry about what you're going to make at 4 o'clock. We call it 4 p.m. dinner dread. And also, it's not even about what you're going to make. It is, what are you going to make that isn't going to break the bank? Because that is a big concern for a lot of people right now. Groceries are expensive, inflation is up, everything seems to be going up. Maybe you're on a fixed income. Maybe you are flirting with the idea of the food bank. There are ways to feed your family healthy, full meals on a budget, and we're going to show you how.
Today's recipes are even more frugal than just regular freezer meals, and even those save you money, but these are going to save you even more because we have shopped the sales, shopped our flyers, and gotten these meals down to where we're going to have 30 servings for $40. So you're going to be able to feed your entire family a week's worth of dinners for $40. And we live in Canada, so this is in Canadian dollars, and groceries here tend to be more expensive than they are in some of the states. Not in all of the states, but in a lot of the states, they're more expensive here. So if we can do this for $40, you might be able to do this for even less. This first recipe was inspired by two different things. One is I had gone to kind of a fancy restaurant with my husband, which is a funny thing to say in a frugal freezer meals video, but it's actually thanks to saving so much on our grocery bill that I can occasionally go to restaurants. So I went to a fancy restaurant with my husband, and I saw on their menu that they had a pesto gnocchi meal, and it sounded so fresh because it had peas in it. And so I, took a photo of that part of the menu and thought to myself, I think I'm gonna invent that into a freezer meal. And then shortly after that, I saw in the flyer for the grocery store that I frequent the most often that they had a 2-for-1 sale on gnocchi.
How convenient.
Isn't that awesome? And so I decided that I was going to invent 4 gnocchi recipes. And this one is the most frugal, so it is making it into this video today. But if you want to watch future videos, you will see we've got a gnocchi sheet pan coming up in a sheet pan freezer meal thing. We've got a gnocchi sausage skillet with vegetable. We've got all kinds of gnocchi recipes coming your way. So this one is our pesto gnocchi. Into a freezer bag, you're going to put some pesto, heavy cream or whipping cream, chicken broth or white wine. Now, in order to calculate the cost and keep the cost down, I used chicken broth, some minced garlic. Now, we use minced garlic from a jar because it's really, really fast. Then some frozen peas, salt, and pepper. You want to get all the air out of that bag because air causes your freezer burn when you're freezer cooking. And then in a medium-sized bag, you're gonna add half a cup of Parmesan stapled to your other bag above the seal. On the day you go to make this, you're going to bring to a gentle boil and cover it, cook it for 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. Your dinner is gonna be ready in under 10 minutes. And then you're gonna top it with Parmesan cheese and just allow that to melt a little bit. Serve this, and seriously, dinner is that fast. I didn't tell you the best part though. This meal came out to $3.89 for 4 servings, so that is 97 cents a serving.
Under $1 per serving?
Yes, for gnocchi, like it's fancy food. And we've got heavy cream and Parmesan cheese.
Yes.
Like, you know, and you've got your peas in there. And there's potato gnocchi is a heavy, hearty dish, so you don't really need much else. This is your meal.
That is really incredible. Aren't you lucky you found us today? Because I was glad to hear that. This next recipe is tortellini soup. Now, it's very important for you to understand that we're using Costco tortellini. It is the 3-cheese tortellini. You can get it in the 3-pack at Costco. Each of these packages, it has 900 grams, which is like 2 pounds. 450 grams is a pound. So Canadian, we're doing a bit of funky Canadian math here in our units. But I'm only using half the package for this because we have a lot of tortellini recipes. We often are able to make more than one. We either double it or we could make 2 different recipes using our tortellini package. So we're just using 1 pound of tortellini in this case. Into our large bag, we're going to add a chopped onion, chicken broth or vegetable broth. It's going to be even cheaper if you have made your own. Pasta sauce, minced garlic. Again, we use it from the jar because it is actually cheaper at Costco than it is at our regular grocery store. Italian seasoning, chili flakes, water, and a large portion of mixed vegetables that are already frozen. We're going to add them into this bag. We're going to seal that bag up after getting rid of all the excess air. And in a second bag, we're going to put that half portion of the tortellini. We're going to staple the bags together and freeze them. On the day of cooking, after thawing, you're going to throw it right into your slow cooker. Cook for 4 to 6 hours, however long you feel like you need. But the important part is for the last 15 minutes is when you're going to add the tortellini. Tortellini is a fresh pasta. Even when you buy it frozen, it's considered a fresh pasta, and the pasta itself cooks very fast, much faster than it would if it was a dry pasta. So really anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes that pasta should be cooked. You don't want to leave it for a whole lot longer than that because it will start to go mushy on you, and we don't want that. But we have here a really great soup that has your protein in your cheese. It has a ton of vegetables. One of Charlotte's favorite mixes that she likes to use has carrots, cauliflower, zucchini, beans, and red peppers.
Beans
Yes,
so good.
it's so good, and that's extra protein too. So this really is soups. Soups, as you know, can be one of the most frugal meals that you can make. But we want them to be flavorful. We want them to be hearty. We don't want them to be hungry an hour or 2 later. This is a great way to do it. This is a wonderful soup.
A little bit ago, we did a video of us making individual freezer meals. We have about 1 video a month of us making individual freezer meals because it's just such a great way for people who live on their own, or there's just 2 of them, or people who want to take lunches. There's so many reasons to make individual freezer meals. And so we had done one where we had done all rotisserie chicken meals. It's a really easy meal prep option. But anyway, we had taken the carcasses from the rotisserie chickens and made our own chicken broth, and it made a lot. And we had also, this is, you know, Christy's baby because she's really good at these kind of farm recipe things.
It's true.
And we'd put in all of the, like, when we were peeling the carrots, like all the peelings and the onions and all like all of our scraps had gone into making this chicken broth, which is so flavorful, and that cost us nothing.
Because we already
Scraps.
had the stuff. It was mostly scraps.
And so we've calculated the cost for this tortellini soup based on purchasing chicken broth, but if you've made your own, then it's even less expensive.
Totally. All in all, this entire recipe cost $7.65. It's going to make 6 servings because it is so big, and that works out to $1.28 per serving, which is pretty incredible.
It is, and this one is so hearty. I do like to add some red pepper flakes and Parmesan cheese to my bowls because
She can't eat food without it.
No, I add that to pretty much everything that I eat.
It's true.
But it really is a good one. Okay, now with that other half of the tortellini, we're going to make a creamy tortellini. Now, a little bit ago, we did a video of some dump and go slow cooker recipes. I will link that up there. And that's the first time that we had ever made this creamy tortellini. And we made 2 of them because we were using, because again, we buy the Costco tortellini, and so we had the packs, 3 of the packs, and so we used half a pack for each. And so Christy and I both tried it, and we were like, you know what?
There's a lot of cheese happening here.
It's too much. Like, the cheddar cheese was too cheddary. And I love cheddar cheese, so this is saying something. It's too cheddary, and even the cream cheese, which I also enjoy, it was too much. And so even in that video, we put a note like right on there saying like, change this out. But we have since played around with this recipe and gotten it to where we like it. And so we subbed out mozza cheese for the cheddar cheese, and we're using half the amount of cream cheese, which also makes it more frugal.
That's right.
And this one, again, includes your vegetables, and that tortellini makes it so hearty and kind of a stick to your ribs kind of recipe. So into your large freezer bag, you're going to add a cup of chopped spinach, that's the fresh spinach, and then half of a minced onion, some garlic that's minced. Again, we're just using it from the jar. We're going to do diced tomatoes, a can of diced tomatoes. Now, this is a 14-ounce can, but it is much less expensive to buy a 28-ounce can, and we buy ours in the case lot sale, so it is even less expensive. And then you're just going to use half of that 28-ounce can. Now, if you were doubling this, you would use your other half in, your second recipe of that. So it just makes more sense to double this again and use half of the can of diced tomatoes in one and half in another. Then we're going to add 4 ounces, so that's half a package of cream cheese, but we're gonna cube that up just to make it easier for it to combine on the day of cooking. And then a cup of shredded mozza cheese. Then you're gonna add in some vegetable broth. Again, you could save even more money if you made your own, but we have purchased ours today. Some Italian seasoning and salt and pepper to taste. You're going to squish that together, remove as much air as you can, seal it, and then you are going to put your tortellini in a quart-size freezer bag and staple those together above the seal. On the day you go to make this, you thaw it and you dump your sauce contents into your slow cooker, cook it on low for just like 2.5 hours, not long at all, and then you're gonna add in that tortellini towards the end of cooking, stir it, and when it's done, like 10-15 minutes, then you are ready to eat.
That's another great, simple recipe. It's hearty, like the tortellini is super hearty, and these are flavorful, and we do work with these recipes to make them not only freezer friendly, but they have to taste good. Like we're not going to just throw garbage up there. Not everybody's going to have the same tastes, and that's fine. But we are going to make sure that they taste good before we, put them on the website or put them in our club.
Yeah, we do sometimes experiment in videos, and are always like, full disclosure, this is the first time
We have
we're
not
making
eaten
this. Because we want you to eat good food, because that's another way that, you know, you can waste money is by making something that your family won't eat. So we want these to actually taste good before they get to you. And this is one that we've played around with and we've figured it out now. And so this came out to $6.32 for 4 servings, which is $1.58 per serving, which I think is darn good considering, you know, that you've got your vegetables and sauce and tortellini all in there. And again, you could make it less expensive by you making your own vegetable broth. Now, for these tortellini ones, if you were to buy the 3-pack from Costco, which is the cheapest way we've found to buy tortellini, now you could look for it on sale and buy a single pack, but if you're buying that 3-pack, then of course you're putting out some more money, you know, at the onset. However, first tip is you go and you cut along the lines so that you separate your 3-pack, and you can toss the ones you don't use right into your freezer. That works really well. The other tip is on our website, which you can find the link for the website in the description below. We have a lot of tortellini recipes.
Yeah, we really do. We've been making meals with it for a long time, again, because it's hearty, it is filling, it is on the frugal side, and who doesn't love some cheese and some pasta?
Absolutely. And we've got like a baked tortellini Alfredo. We've got a tortellini
skillet.
Sausage skillet. That one is so
probably our
good.
tastiest one.
Yeah.
The other thing that's worth mentioning is not just our website, but we do have a club. We're talking about frugal meals here, and it seems counterproductive to spend money to make money sometimes. But in this case, we are finding that people who join the club, we have an annual membership fee, but we also have a monthly membership fee. You can cancel at any time. You can try it out. People are saving money because they are able to shop the sales. And when you come back, you find that you have ground beef on sale. And it's a great sale, and you buy like 10 pounds of ground beef. And then you come home and you're like, what am I going to do with all this ground beef? Old Christy would have just thrown it in the freezer and hoped that I would come up with something, you know, down the road. But, you know, maybe for a pound or two, and then it starts to get older, and then you're like, should I still use that? You know, and we don't want that to go to waste either. What you can do is, if you're a member of the club, is there's filters. You can go in and select ground beef, and all of the ground beef recipes will populate. You can even select, you know, my oven is on the fritz, I need something for the slow cooker and for the stovetop. You can select those as filters. Those will populate. From those, you can pick your favorites and make a meal plan. From your meal plan, you can print a shopping list for the rest of your ingredients. You can print a prep list that will tell you all the things that you need to prep to get ready to make these meals. And lastly, the best part is that we have a labels section. You can print off labels, put them right onto the meals so that you don't have to look up the meal again online, or you don't have to print the recipe out, you don't have to save it. It's all right there. And when you pull out your freezer meal, you can cook it just like that.
Or if you have teens or young adults living with you like I do, they can cook it. Because the cooking instructions are right there.
And so people are finding that if they're on a fixed income, or if they are really into their budget. We have a lady in our Facebook group. She lives in the Pacific Northwest. She has literally saved $200 a month by doing freezer cooking, by being a member of the club. So it far and above pays for itself in what you save. So these meals today, some of them will be in the club, some are not. The recipes for some of them are down below. There are ways to do it. Our biggest thing, it's Freezer Meals 101. We're trying to teach you how to make freezer meals. These are the best ways to make the frugal ones. The club just makes it even a little bit better.
True story.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Speaking of ground beef, this next recipe is one of our strangest and one of our favorites. It is called Kathy's Lazy Relatin, and we love it. Love it, love it, love it. It is one of those ones that as soon as it comes out, you're supposed to make it with potatoes, and lots of times it gets eaten up before the potatoes are even fully cooked. And I will tell you about this recipe right now. You start it with a pound of ground beef. In this case, for the price I'm going to give you at the end, the ground beef wasn't on sale, but our local grocery store, the first Tuesday of the month, is 15% off everything in the store. So that is included in the price on this one. So it's regular ground beef with 15% off, so you know. We're going to brown it and drain it. In our bag, we're going to add also medium onion that's been minced, some bacon that has been crisped up and crumbled. Now this is on sale. The dill pickles. Yes, I said dill pickles. We're going to add in a cup of dill pickles that have been chopped. They were massively on sale. And that's it. That's all we're going to add to the bag. The only thing else we have to add to this recipe is a little packet of gravy. Now, if you have some butter and flour and can make a roux and can make your own gravy at home, you go ahead and do that. If you are not so cookingly inclined, you can easily make a packet of gravy. They're pretty inexpensive. They're very flavorful. So you're going to freeze your meal. On the day of cooking, you're going to thaw it. While it's cooking, you make your packet of gravy and your side of potatoes, which the potatoes are not included in the price of this meal, just so you know. You're going to make your packet of gravy, and then you're going to pour your gravy over top of your cooked meal right in the skillet, and then serve it with your potatoes. You could have it with rice. You could, like we said, lots of times it gets eaten before we ever get to the starch because it's so tasty.
Yep.
And, you know, this meal came out to $6.35 for the whole meal. It makes 4 servings. Dividing that out, it is $1.59 per serving. So this includes beef as your protein, and I would call it a treat item to have that packet of gravy, because you, with butter and flour, you can, and milk, you can make it cheaper, but it's, you know, that sometimes is considered an expensive item. Usually you can get them for under $2. And that is really, really tasty, and your family will love it.
This next recipe is our spicy red lentil soup. It originated as my sister-in-law Marcia's recipe. Funny enough, this summer, we were in the mountains with her and her husband, and I actually brought them a frozen bag of her own soup.
Did you think that was pretty funny?
She loved it. They are avid mountain bikers, and so even though Marcia is an amazing cook, she would way rather be out on the hill than in her kitchen. And so I knew that and figured, hey, this is a recipe I know she likes because it's hers.
Yeah.
So I just brought them a bag of it. But anyway, let me get to the recipe. You'll see how flavorful it is because of all the spices in here. So into a stovetop pot, you're going to add some onion and olive oil and just saute that for a little bit. You're gonna add some minced garlic, ground cumin, paprika, and cayenne pepper. Now, if you like things spicy, you can add more than what it calls for. If you don't, you can add less. This is one of those recipes that if you add more or less, it's not gonna wreck the recipe. Then you're gonna add your vegetable broth. Now, there's quite a lot of vegetable broth that this calls for, or you could add chicken broth if you prefer. Of course, to keep it vegetarian, you might wanna use vegetable broth, and if you want more protein in there, add your chicken. Again, you could save even more money by making your own broth here. And we've calculated the price of this today based on purchasing broth. So this could be made even more inexpensively. Then you're gonna add in some dry red lentils that have been rinsed, tomato paste, and a bay leaf. You're gonna just cover this, bring it to a boil, stir it here and there, and simmer it for about half an hour. You just want your lentils to be tender. You're gonna throw out that bay leaf and then blend the soup with an immersion blender. Now you want to stir in a can of evaporated milk and add some salt and pepper. The evaporated milk is actually what makes this recipe as expensive as it is. We did buy the evaporated milk in a case lot sale because we use a lot of evaporated milk in our freezer meals, so we're able to buy it by the case, which did save us some money. But this recipe does come out to one of our more expensive ones, even though it's with lentils, and that's $7.13. However, it is 6 servings, so it's only $1.19 per serving.
Can I tell you an interesting piece of trivia that you might not have known? Canada is one of the highest producers of lentils in the world. Not only are our lentils grown here, but we export them.
This I did not know, and I don't even know how you grow lentils.
Well, it's like a bean.
Okay.
Like, because they split, right?
So
like
we have
a bean
lentil
splits.
farms?
I suppose any kind of farmer that would grow beans could also grow lentils. I've never honestly seen a lentil plant.
Me neither.
And I had no idea, and I don't know what part of the country that you would buy them. I would think it's going to be, you know, like southern Ontario or maybe southern BC, where the climate is warmer. I don't know. But I don't even know where I read it, because like my brain's kind of mushy these days, because perimenopause is fun. But yeah, so we are one of the biggest producers of lentils here.
There you go.
And lentils are, like, I don't know if you've ever actually looked for lentils at the grocery store. You can get a bag of several hundred grams of lentils for like $2, $3. They are not expensive.
If you buy them in bulk, you can save even more.
Something I'm going to mention too about the amount of spices that are happening in this recipe, because spices typically aren't all that cheap.
And I did factor the spices into the cost.
Of course, you have to, otherwise it wouldn't, be a true price. But when you think of buying like a container of cayenne pepper plus a container of paprika plus a container of ground cumin, did you know that you can go to the bulk store? In Canada, we have Bulk Barn. It's a really, really great place. You can buy just about anything there in bulk. But even at your regular grocery store, there is likely a bulk section. If you know that you are not going to use cumin on a regular basis, really just go get a couple of scoops.
You can literally measure out how much you're going to need in your recipe and just have a bag of just that.
Yes, you can. You do not have to buy a $7 spice bottle in order to make this recipe. There are ways to even make that cheaper. If you are somebody that is going to use spices on a regular basis, and the more you cook with us, the more you'll find that you will want a spice repertoire. There is a more frugal way to do it. You just have to know about it. This last recipe is the ultimate comfort food.
Yes.
It is unfortunately our most expensive recipe, but really it won't break the bank for you. At $8.92, it still works out to $1.49 per serving, because there's 6 servings here, and it is the humble make-ahead tuna casserole. We start out with 2 cans of your flaked tuna, which is drained. Now, tuna can vary drastically in your grocery store, so you want to look for maybe the cheaper cans, and if you can catch it on a sale, all the better. Tuna is really inexpensive though when you are able to buy it in bulk. So if you are able to do that, try do that. We're going to add 2 cans of flaked tuna that's been drained into a large bowl. We're going to add in chopped onion, shredded cheddar cheese, a couple of cans of cream of mushroom soup, some frozen peas, some chopped red pepper, and add in a little bit of pepper. You're going to cook up a package of egg noodles. Sometimes they're known as broad noodles. We're going to combine the noodles. We're going to mix that all around in the bowl so everything is nicely combined, and we're going to add it to our freezer bag. We're going to get out that excess air, seal it, and freeze it. Cook it up at 425 for 20 to 30 minutes. This is hearty, it is comfort food, it is delicious, kids will eat it, and
it's one of my daughter's favorites. It might be my youngest daughter, it's her single favorite freezer meal. It's what she always asks for. And this price includes the egg noodles. Like, it includes the whole thing. So you've got vegetables, your starch, your protein. It's all there. You've even got cheese. And cheese tends to be a little bit on the expensive side. So that's what raised the price of this meal.
I imagine it did.
You could cut it down to half the amount of cheese if you wanted. You wouldn't lose a whole lot of flavor, and it would be much more inexpensive. So there's lots of ways to do this. And had we bought the tuna in a case lot sale, which we didn't this time, but we have in the past, then we could have made this even less expensive.
Same for the mushroom soup. Sometimes mushroom soup cream soups or soups in general seem to have shot up lately, and you really have to shop around to find a better price for even buying it by the can or by the case. So if you can hit a case lot sale, plus if you can get that 15% off, that is the sweet spot. It happens a couple of times a year here, and Charlotte is always the first one in the door saying, I'll take that, thank you, I'll take that. And that is how we are able to save money. You spend the money up front, but you're doling it out through the next 6 months. It really is a great way to do it.
This last case lot sale that we had, I had a shoulder, like a rotator cuff injury, and so I couldn't lift the heavy cases. And so my husband had to come and like fill a cart with all the heavy cases. And I was like, thank you so much. Anyway, it's just a little problem to have when you're trying to save money.
That's right.
Nothing's going to stop me from
Nothing
saving.
is going to stop you from saving money and making freezer meals, and we appreciate it.
It's so funny because Christy and I will text each other like photos of prices in stores sometimes, or and because we know the common ingredients that go in a lot of our freezer meals, like, you know, we've got black beans and corn and kidney beans and diced tomatoes, like we use a
go
lot,
through it like
and
crazy.
Evaporated milk. And so if either of us sees a sale, especially a case lot sale on any of those things, we're like, get it, let's pick it up now, because we know we're going to use it in months to come, and it just cuts the future grocery bills so much to already have that. And we've even had, for those of you who don't know, Christy and I are neighbors, and we've been doing freezer meals together for over 11 years and on our own before that. And we do these mega sessions. I'm going to put a link to a video right there where we did 153 meals, and that serves both of our families for 3 months. So then we don't have to think about cooking for a long time, which is so nice. But we do spend a huge chunk right
Up
there.
front.
But then we hardly spend anything. We're just buying like your bread, your milk,
Your staples
eggs.
and your produce.
Yeah, and actually there's a little egg farmer by us where we can get
that's
fairly
right.
inexpensive eggs right as you drive by. So really, we're not having to buy a whole lot for the next 3 months. And so our grocery bills are very, very small until they're big. But I do remember one time we had bought so much in case lot sales leading up to that our grocery bill for that big mega session wasn't high.
It was next to nothing. It was mostly the meat, right?
Yeah.
Because you had to buy the meat fresh. The pantry items were just kind of taken care of.
Hey, we're done.
It was good.
I don't know a lot of friends that are texting each other prices all the time, but
I was at the grocery store one day and I said, there's 2-for-1 beef strips. I have to text Charla. So I sent her a picture, and she just whipped into her car and came to town like immediately and went to the 2 different stores. She didn't clean them out because that's not fair, but she did buy a lot, and we just came home and you invented a whole bunch of beef strip recipes.
we've got a video right there.
Yeah, that's
of
right.
Those beef strips, and I think we made 10 different recipes.
Oh yeah, and when it's 2-for-1, man, that is half price. That is a really great deal.
It's a really great deal. And beef, I mean,
beef
you know.
is not cheap.
So there are a lot of ways to save even more with your freezer meals. I hope that the meals that we've shared with you today help you to think outside the box a little bit when it comes to grocery savings. We're going to put a video right there that actually talks about ways you can save more money with freezer meals. So I hope you'll check that out if you're looking to drastically cut your grocery budget.
I think that we covered it all today.
These are some good family-friendly meals, and hopefully they will serve you well on your budget grocery challenge or journey.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Happy cooking.